Welcome back to my channel here on YouTube, Nick's Garage, with the missing link on my 426 Hemi. This is part 3, and today I'm going to give the conclusion to the missing link.
A few weeks back, Nick challenged his viewers to find the one part missing from his awesome 1969-1970 426 Hemi. Today he's going to reveal the winners, but first he wanted to clear up another little question in the shop.
Okay, go.
Nick's client asked him to track down a noise under this Camaro.
Okay, it's in the middle. Too bad this creeper makes a lot of noise, but it's in front of the differential in the middle.
Now Vasily has got the SS up on a lift. We'll be able to put this one to bed.
So we think we found the noise on the 2010 Camaro, and come on, sorry. There it is. The dry shaft was touching the shield, the exhaust shield. It fell down. The stud came out of the gas tank, and it was touching the dry shaft.
The first thing that Vasily noticed was the paint scuffed off the 3 highest bolts on the drive shaft connection.
Right there.
And once he got the big aftermarket exhaust down and out of the way, he could see exactly what they'd been hitting.
Right in there, just over, and it made it's a deep groove too. So, I'm very positive that that's a problem.
And it all seems to trace back to a tiny plastic stud that snapped off the gas tank.
There's a stud that's supposed to be like this, which is it comes with a gas tank, and for some reason it came off, fell off. Somebody knocked it off. We don't know.
We had people commenting on it might be the calipers and the drive shaft or anything, but I checked everything. Everything seemed fine. So we made a brace, pushing it up against the tank because we cannot make any attachments to the plastic fuel cell. It seems fine. It's got an inch clearance, and I believe it's good now.
No drilling needed, no customization needed besides the bracket.
With the heat shield back in place, all that's left is to reassemble the exhaust, and the SS will be ready to roll once again.
I was hoping we could hear it open headers, but I don't see it happening. But it's okay. It's pretty loud anyways.
Used to make the noise just by pushing it like this before. I don't hear anything. I don't hear it. Do you? No. Okay, now let's push it back. Looks like you've got it.
Yeah.
Didn't make a sound. Now the only thing is, if the streets are dry outside, we'll take it for a drive. If not, we'll wait till next week. But from what I think the problem's solved. There was the shield on the dry shaft. Well done job, Vasily.
Thank you.
I think it's fixed. All right, call the customer in and have him pick it up.
Now, let's get back to that Hemi.
Welcome back to Nick's Garage here on YouTube, and today I'm going to give out the answer to the missing link. I had a part 1 and part 2. I read every comment. It was almost 2,000 comments, and I was very surprised. There was a lot of comments on what was missing, and there was a few that were repeated. I also did part 2 to go into more details and show you a closer up of my engine, what was the missing link.
When Nick decided to start this contest, he had one specific part in mind. But in reading the comments, he realized that a lot of you guys were talking about a second part.
My missing link was one certain piece, but another piece came up because I stated that this is a 1969 engine. True, but I put a valve covers on 1970 because I want to make a layout of a 1970 for an E-body, which is of course 1970. But since I stated it was a 69, there was a very important piece missing, which I'll get there in a minute. but I also mentioned in the first video that the missing link that I had in mind was on both 1969 and 1970. But anyways, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We have two missing links on this engine, so I'm going to go through it and describe it, and we'll take it from there.
So in his typical generosity, Nick has decided to up the contest from one missing link to two.
A lot of people mentioned that a green emission control valve was missing. It's green and it's on a 69 cars, I believe, because I stated it's a 69 engine. So I said, you know, better the doubt, I'll call it a missing link anyways. I happen to have one NOS right here. Valve complete with a Hemi bracket. Instructions, hose to install on a 426 Hemi, which I believe came on a 6869. And here it is, NOS. And it mounts right over here. Bolts on right over here. Then you have your vacuum hose going to the carburetor, to the distributor, and of course to your vacuum port here on the intake manifold. And lucky me, I got a friend of mine in Gananoque, Ontario. A friend of mine named Terry that found me this NOS valve, and of course he offered to sell it to me, and I bought it within a second. And for the reason I did not bolt this on this engine, even though it is a 69 engine, because I'm doing a layout here for 1970, and for that reason I am not putting it onto the engine. But anyways, I'll consider it as a missing link because like I said, it's a 69 engine, it should be there, so I give it the benefit of the doubt, I'll give it to my winners.
Thanks to everyone who mentioned this piece, for giving Nick the chance to learn something new about his favorite engine, and to collect a cool NOS part.
As I mentioned in the first video, the first 5 correct answers that I get will get a winner's shirt, Nick's 426 winner t-shirt, which I'll be giving out. But I changed my mind. Since we had so many comments for almost 2,000 viewers, I've decided to go to 15 winners on both items that are missing link. We started from the bottom of the list, going up to 2,000 comments. And as I went up, I found my 15 winners on the 2 missing links. And then just where we stopped, the comment right above where we stopped, on the last 15th winner, we saw this guy written exactly to the detail, to the T, what was missing on the missing link. So for that reason, I gave him a free shirt also, because we're gonna call it 15 plus 1 bonus.
That's a total of 16 shirts going out to the lucky winners. And this was a tough one, so you guys can feel proud.
And one of the most common comments was the air fuel mixture screws on the front carburetor. Well, like I did mention before, this is the way it comes from the factory, 1969. These are 1969 carburetors, and this is the way it comes from the factory, like that. They are not exposed, they're inside, deep inside, and they're not made for the public to touch them, but that's the way they also come from the factory. And the second thing is, also 1970, 71 had the same setup. As I have here, a 1971 setup, NOS. Here again, they're not exposed, they're internally. And only exposed is the rear carburetor, as you see here. Both NOS 71 4-speed carburetors. And then let's go back in 1967, there was an option called the WO23, which was a cheater carbs, which I also have a set here, NOS 1967. And the air fuel mixture screws are exposed, just like you have over here, as you can see. Both rear carb and front carb. And this is the way it came from the factory on a 67 cheater carburetors setup. All street Hemis came with 2 Carter carburetors. We call it dual quad setup, or should I say 2 4 barrels. From 66 to 71, front and rear carbs came like this. The primary barrels were much smaller than the secondary, as you can see on this one, and as you can see on this one. Smaller and larger. That's the difference. Now, if you go to a 67 W023 or a WO23 option, which is the 67 cheater carburetors, if you take a go look, these are all the same size. Both front and rear carburetors. See that? All the same size. That's why they call them cheater carburetors. And while we're at the stable, I got this for Christmas from my nephew, also my godson Michael. Gave me a couple of these plaques for Christmas, and I can't wait to put them up on my shop for everybody to see them and enjoy them. And Michael, thank you very much.
Okay, we've kept you waiting long enough. It's time to reveal The Missing Link on Nick's 426 Hemi.
A lot of you guys would guess that the air cleaner was missing, but it's got something to do with the air cleaner. Here, let me show you. It all starts right here, right in the back of the rear carburetor. There's a nipple which takes fresh air, filtered air. And where does it lead to? Check this out. And where does it go? Right here. And this is the missing link right here, which is called a cold air tube for the choke, which operates the automatic choke. What does it do? It takes in fresh air, cold air, filtered through the tube, coming down here, behind the tubes, heat tubes for the intake manifold, behind the exhaust manifold, underneath, makes a U-turn, and goes through a tube inside the exhaust manifold, which heats up, and then comes up here through a heated pipe, which is insulated, so it can keep the air hot, to come up all the way up here, to warm up the choke spring. And as the spring warms up, it of course operates the choke butterfly, and it opens it up as it heats up. And this is my missing link on my 426 Hemi. And now that it's on here, now my engine is complete. We had almost 2,000 guesses, and now you all know what it is. It's right here. From a 66 to 1970, this is what you have. The automatic choke system. And folks, here you have it. The 426 Hemi, all detailed and complete, including the missing link. Now, isn't this a great looking engine?
Congratulations to our winners. If you're heartbroken because you didn't win, you can now get yourself some of the Nick's Garage merch, like this t-shirt and hoodie. And we're thinking about adding a hat. The links are in the description below. If you did win, head over to the About tab on the Nick's Garage YouTube page and send us a private message with your full address and t-shirt size, and we'll get your prize out as soon as we can.
I want to thank all you viewers, and we all had a great time on this quiz, and I've read every comment, even though there were 2,000 of them. I thank you guys. I'm looking into the future to do it again on another engine, I don't know what, on a missing link or another quiz. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.